Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. In this video I'm going to be covering my response to Genshin Impact's 3.6 special program announcement, A Parade of Providence. Now, in some of the more recent versions that we've had, I've been asked, is it better to let events go or to grind to get to where you can do the event or to do the quick start. For this version, because it's going to be very heavy on Sumeru, I would not advocate go using the quick start because that could spoil the ending of chapter 3. So uh, what that means for you is something that you'll probably have to look at yourself. I would say, rule of thumb, if you are in chapter 2 or earlier, chapter 2 is Inazuma, then I would say just continue to explore the story at your own pace and don't worry about the events. If you are in chapter 3, which is Sumeru's chapter, but you have not finished Act 5, then I would say just buckle down and finish Act 5. You've got plenty of time to do that the before 3.6 drops, and probably even plenty of time before it will become a problem with the events. But my rule of my right now, chapter 3, Act 5 is kind of where I would want to say enjoy the story up until that point and don't worry about quick starts till you've gotten that far. So, um, will it require anything beyond Act 5? It might not require Act 6, but uh, the um, the interlude for Chapter 3 might be a good idea. And there may be some other things I'll talk about later. One of the things someone has asked me to do is to provide the redemption codes in the video itself. So this is the third redemption code they gave us. I will show the other two later. However, before you start entering it in, mind the valid until time because these codes usually are only valid for less than a day. So let's continue on with the banners. So we the kind of in an unusual turn of events, they are doing the double rerun banner first in 3.6 with Nahida and Nilu. We don't know any of the 4-star characters for this one. I I think this is a good call. I like the idea of having the reruns first. Um, I do like the idea of having all the new characters on the same banner. I think that makes it a lot more fair for everyone. What they did in 3.5, I understand why they did it, and it was I I don't know. I don't think it was. I think having the new 5-star and the new 4-star in the same banner makes more sense. As for me, I have Nahida at C0 right now, and I passed on Nilu when her banner was initially up. I don't see I don't see wanting to pull for Nilu this time either. So, but the question I have in my mind, and I'll have to do some more research on this, is whether or not there's going to be a lot of value for me to go to C1 for Nahida. Um, Knowing what the weapons are like, I don't think I would go for the weapons banner. I mean, for me personally, I mean, I could very much use Nahida's catalyst, but there are other catalysts at the 4-star level that I already have that would work just fine. Um, and I'm not sure why I would do a Nilu sword if I didn't have Nilu as well. Um, so yeah, I would. I'm my thought is I might think about going for Nahida It may come down to who the 4 stars are because I already have Nahida at C0. But anyway, let's move on to phase two. In phase two, we have Dr. Baiju and Ganyu at the 5 star level. Um, Baiju is a new character, and we have Kave as a new 4 star character. And obviously, we'll get two more as that will be announced later on. Um, it's hard to say. I try not to make a lot of decisive um, uh, opinions about characters without doing the test runs. But I am interested to see what how Baiju test run goes. If you've seen my if you've seen my story quest um, for Al Haytham, then you know what I have to say. You know what I think about Kave. I there's I'm not really that interested in that character, but much like I thought, I much like with the Wanderer, there's a market for. It. There are people who will want him on their teams. There are people who that character will resonate with more than me, and that's perfectly fine. I'm all for having a lot of variety and different characters. Having the same type of character that's not good for the game. So, in my opinion. So I'm not. I The one thing I'm a little bit disappointed with Kave was I really think he should have been a 5 star character. I would have put him at the same level as Al Haytham, and we already have Al Haytham as a 5 star character. I know you can't probably have Baiju and Kave as both new 5 star characters in the same banner. That and to that, I would simply say I would have had Kave now, and maybe move Baiju down the road because I don't know what unless Baiju is going to be an important part of this event. I don't know why it's necessary for him to be here. But yeah, I just wish Kave was a 5 star. Even though I'm not a big fan of his character, should have been the same level as Haytham. I've said that plenty of times now. I don't have any of these. I obviously don't have the new characters. I haven't pulled for Ganyu as either. I may want to think about Ganyu because I don't really have a true um, cryo DPS, um, but we'll see. Definitely something I need to think about, particularly if I don't go for Nahida. But the big the big thing for me, this came a little bit later on in the special program announcement. We have a new area that's going to be unlocked, and it's kind of right where I thought it was going to be. Because I saw where there was a clear opening to a new area that we didn't have yet. I think a lot of people have spotted it, but it's in that northwest corner of the newer area of the desert. This could be very interesting. They hyped it up as that there might be secrets to Conria, might be secrets to the Abyss out here. There are there are new bosses. There's actually two of them. There's this one, and there's this one. And there are new artifacts, which I'm assuming are going to be out there as well. There's the second redemption code, so now you have all three. These artifacts look interesting to me. Um, Nymph's Dream, it starts off with a hydro damage bonus of 15%. And then 4-piece set, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but what I'm when I'm looking at that, I'm thinking about my Ayato, which I have on a 4-piece Heart of Depth. I'm wondering if this might actually work better, but I have to think about that a little bit more. I'm also thinking about Sing Shou, which I've been building an Emblem of Severed Fate, which has been a never-ending quest to get him a 4-piece set for that. Um, I'm less confident that Nymph's Dream is going to be a better set for Sing Cho. I think that's still going to be Emblem, but it is something I'm thinking about. Plus, we also need to keep in mind that chapter 4 is probably not too far away. So having an access to some more hydro uh, damage sets is probably a good idea. Now we have the second set, which I don't know how to pronounce. I'm not going to try right now, but it's another HP set. I think we're well overdue for another HP set. Um, I'm looking at that and thinking about whether I can move someone off of Tenacity and put them on that. Tenacity is a good set for boosting HP, but it's one of those sets where the 4-piece set is only going to be useful for one character in your party. This one looks like it's a little bit more um, flexible, so you might be able to have multiples if you wanted to. It is definitely a support set, but I am interested in that. This is the first time in a while that I've seen new artifact sets that I'm thinking might be worth going for. We'll have to see. And I'll have to finish the Emblem of Severed Fate as well. So Nahida's going to be getting a new chapter for her story quest. So if you haven't finished chapter 1, chapter 2 might be in your best interests because that is probably going to be your intro to the new area. Um, Dr. Baiju has also got a new story quest, and there's an event called the Recollector's Path, which I put in the wrong spot, but this is going to be in that new area. It's just um, so this is probably going to be something where if you're keeping up with the story, you'll probably see it. If you haven't been keeping up with the story, just skip it. And of course, we've got a new hangout as well. So that is a grand total of 2 character chapters and 1 hangout event. That is a grand total of 4 keys. Do not stress about the keys. Keys literally respawn after 2 days of completing all of your daily quests, which you're doing anyway. So, like I said, don't unlock everything and then suddenly have to stop what you're doing to handle this section of the story quest, and then you move on a little bit. Now you have to deal with this section of this other story quest, one at a time, and you'll get through it just fine. Okay, the main event, Parade of Providence, looks like it's going to be um, kind of a competition, kind of an Olympics of sorts between the different darshans of the academia. So they showed the representatives for 5 of the 6 darshans, with the last one being obscured. Um, Not sure why they obscured the last one, but I have a feeling I know who that's going to be, but I keep that to myself for now. Now, the Parade of Providence, of course, is the flagship event, so that's where your Crown of Insight is going to come from, and a bunch of other things. You can also see you can get a free invite for Faruzan, which for me, I didn't get her when she was on. I haven't gotten her yet, so that means I'll probably have her at that point. So yeah, I'm not that I wasn't that in a rush to get her, but I think this looks interesting. It's got a lot of different uh, components to it, but again, like I said at the beginning of the video, if you haven't gotten to Chapter 3, Act 5, and completed it, then just wait until you do before you worry about things like this. So there's some more events. There's this one is going to be in the desert uh, uh, near our village for some reason, and uh, and then there's this one which is going to be in Sumero as well. You can see this is pretty much all Sumero, and then we get bonus talent books as well. So that's always worthwhile to do. And that's pretty much it. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like. Consider subscribing to my channel and following me on Twitch. Um, if you have your own comments about Genshin Impact 3.6, um, then leave them in a comment below. Like I said, we'll all have different ideas on what's going to be useful and what's not. So I will cover some of the things in more detail later in my plan for 3.6. But until then, I'll see you in the next video.